Alright, so this is the second race of the night. I'm starting here in 13th. There's a little bit of a glitch where it shows that I'm 18th in a minute, but I'm starting 13th. The reason for that is the first three finishers of race 1 in our league don't qualify in the second race, so you get randomly thrown towards the back. So I'm going to have to go through a lot of traffic here. You can see some people having accidents at the beginning. That tends to happen sometimes. But overall, we usually have pretty clean starts to the race. You'll see here in this corner, there's about 5 people. If you look on the helicorsa right there, there's 5 people taking that corner, and somehow we managed to get through without any accidents. Hurtful in the mystery machine colored BMW in front. Gains a lot of positions here at the beginning. Really aggressive and quite impressive to do all of that without losing positions and without making any contact with anybody. So this first lap is really intense, just trying your best to get through and avoid accidents. Trying your best to do so without losing too many positions. I think that's accurate that I'm down to 14th here.
Yellow flag, be careful there. Car on the right.
Now,
Clear on the right.
I pass, there seems to be an accident there, almost run into Smitty facing the wrong direction. I make the quick decision of diving into the pits here on the first lap.
Car on the left. Clear on the left.
The reason for this is clearly to get out of traffic. I don't want to be stuck in a train of traffic. I'm going to skip forward here because nobody wants to watch us just drive through the pits. But I don't want to be stuck in traffic. I don't want to be slowed down trying to pass a bunch of people. I'd rather have some open track to put in some good lap times, and I think it'll pay off towards the end of the race. So we come out of the pits here in 18th place behind Hurt. Hurtful is definitely faster than me, so I don't feel like I'm going to catch him necessarily. And then Snuggle Bunny, who I was battling with in race 1, comes out behind me. But I don't know what I was doing here. I maybe wasn't paying attention. Maybe I was looking in my rear view mirror to see if anybody was coming around the pit straight. But lost my train of thought, went off the track, went into the sand. Not too big of an issue, didn't lose too much time. But now time to focus, put my head down and put in some laps. So you notice the crew chief tells me that a car's exiting the pits. So I keep my eye out on the right side for someone exiting the pits. That's going to be important to note for an incident that we're going to have in just a minute. An incident that's kind of my fault. So now I'm just trying to put in consistent lap times. I passed a number of people through the pits there, so I'm up to 15th. We skip forward in time here, and I'm starting to catch up to Smitty, who we saw on the first lap had an accident and was facing backwards. So even though I've taken a pit, I am able to start to catch up to Smitty. He might have some damage as well from that first lap accident. So I'm hoping at this point, because I'm noticing that the time is dropping, I'm hoping at this point that I will be able to catch Smitty and cleanly pass him without losing too much time. That's always one of these tricks in these races. It's not just passing people, but also not losing too much time as you pass them. It does make it really interesting when your top 3 finishers from race 1 have to start from the back in race 2. Definitely adds a little bit of excitement there. So I think Schmitty gets a little bit of a tough run out here. Yep, makes a mistake there. I'm able to get really close on his bumper, and now I'm going to put pressure on him. I'm not going to do anything too aggressive. I peek up the inside. I think Smitty sees that in his rear view, gets nervous, and is a little bit late on the brakes, maybe trying to hold the position. And it does allow me to take that space on the inside. So by dipping my nose in, I was able to force a mistake without being too aggressive, and was able to take the position cleanly without losing much time. So here comes an incident. The crew chief tells me someone is exiting the pit. I must not have heard it, or was maybe just focused on my race and didn't hear it. Look on the right and look at the heli Corsa. You cannot see Nog exiting the pit until I'm already committed to the corner. So I do make a mistake and touch him, but notice he's still on track, right? And then Nog goes off track into the sand. So I'm a little bit confused about what happened there. The initial contact was 100% my fault. I could not see him on the right side until pretty much until we made contact. And then the little notification right under the rear view mirror, the little, I think it's called a heli Corsa, did not show up until just before we made contact. And it was too late for me to do anything to avoid contact. But after the contact, Nog makes the corner and seems to be doing fine. And then on the next corner, about another corner later, he dips his wheels on the grass and just kind of goes straight into the sand. And I don't know if he was angry about our contact. I don't know if he lost his focus, maybe. Maybe I just did enough for him to lose his focus. But I'm really hopeful that, even though the contact was my fault, I'm really hopeful that that accident wasn't my fault, because it's never fun to be the reason why someone's race gets messed up. So we skip forward here. I'm in 9th place. All of those passes that happened between the last clip and this clip were all made while people were pitting. You can see a number of people pitting here, passing some people again. I see Nog's in the pits again and is dropping way down the order, so I don't know if I gave him damage, but again, still feeling bad about what happened earlier. Passed a few more people, and now I'm up into 7th place. There's about 8 minutes left in 7th place, and feeling fairly good about the position. I see that AZ, I don't know how you actually say that name, but I'm going to call him AZ. AZ in front of me is a pretty fast guy in the league. He's about 4 seconds ahead of me. Crack, who typically is around my pace, very consistent driver, is about 5 seconds behind me. So with about 7 minutes left in the race, I know that it's not that likely, barring any mistakes, it's not that likely for me to either pass or get past if everybody stays consistent. So the goal here is just to bring it home in 7th place. The people I can see on my Delta have all already taken their pit stops. So I'm assuming that most of the action is done for me in this race. We're down to 4 minutes left. Still in 7th place. And Acadian, actually from up ahead, is taking a pit now. So we might get a free position here while Acadian takes his mandatory pit stop. And we do, so we're up into 6th place. And at this point, I do start to realize 6-second gap ahead, 6-second gap behind. The next 3 people in front of me have already taken their pits. It's very unlikely that I'm going to have much action in the last 3 minutes of the race. It does get a little bit interesting here in a minute, but I'm going to let you kind of watch my driving for the last 3 minutes. I do make a couple mistakes. I get one cut the track warning. But I'm gonna be quiet and let the next few minutes pass by so you can watch the driving. And so you can see I make a mistake here, just a little too late on the brakes, cut the corner, get a warning for track limits. That was a bit sloppy, but for the whole race weekend, it was my first warning. So I do feel like my consistency is getting really, really strong. So I'm pretty hyped about that. And here's where it gets a little bit interesting. The silent guy was coming out of the pits. I did not realize that someone ahead needed to pit. I feel like he was so far ahead that he must have had a slow pit stop for some reason. And now I see on the timing screen on the left, he's actually only a little less than 3 seconds ahead of me. So it'll drop below 3 seconds there. So I start to think, well, maybe I could catch him. And then you look up at the race timing and there's, we're going to be on the last lap here. So the odds of me catching him are slim to none without a big mistake. So one thing I wanted to add, as you can see, I make the same mistake again a second time. One thing I wanted to add about this race is once this race finishes, I start to feel really sick. I stand up and feel like I'm about to pass out. My legs felt kind of weak. And you can see here I had to squeeze by Xavier. Kind of funny that on the last turn of race 1, I almost ran into Xavier, and then on the last turn of, or one of the last turns of race 2, the same thing happens. So I bring it home to finish into 6th place. But as I was saying, I stood up and started to feel like I was going to pass out. Went and took my own temperature, and it was at 102 Fahrenheit. So definitely had a fever. Was feeling very flu-like. Legs were feeling really weak pressing the pedals. All of that being said, really happy that I finished 6th place. in race 2 after finishing first in race 1. I could not be happier with how these 2 races turned out, round 2 of our league races. And I also had fun kind of narrating it because it allows me to kind of look back at what happened in the race and reflect on all the things that happened in the race and what I can improve. So I think I'm going to keep making these videos, even if not that many people watch them, even if it's just for me. It's kind of fun to watch the race back and commentate over it. So maybe those of you that did watch the video, maybe you enjoyed it. I'll be posting some more of these videos from our TRC league races. If you ever want to join TRC, if you on Xbox for ACC races, you could join the Discord, or you could send me a message and I can direct you to the right people in the right places. But great racing with everybody on this Wednesday night. Next week is a 1-hour race at Spa, so that'll be a really fun one. Or a 50-minute race, actually. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.